Welcome back to the Hockey Hotbed. We're talking about the Atlantic Division. And as I look down at my watch and see what day it is, we are 2 weeks away from puck drop. So these previews, of course, are so much fun, but I am ecstatic to bring you the content that I have set up for whenever we get into the season. We have 3 stars of the week. We have power rankings. We have a lot of fun guests coming on to talk hockey and talk about how the teams in their respective areas are playing. Because we are part of the Hockey Podcast Network, which, as you know, if you're a Hockey Podcast Network fan, has teams and podcasts in every single market, plus some specialty podcasts like Tales with TR, like House of Hockey Podcast, and many, many more. I like to think that we're a specialty podcast here at the Hockey Hotbed. I don't know why I say we. This is a one-man organization for right now, but I like to say we, even though I need to start saying I need to get used to that. I will continue to talk about the Atlantic Division to close out this show. I gave you my bottom 4 teams in segment number 1, and now to close out the show in this segment, I'll give you my top 4 teams in what is, and as I said this right before the break, going to be the most interesting and most, what's the word I even used? Wow. Take too long of a break and you forget everything. It's going to be a very fun division to watch this year. Close competition. And part of that is going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Once again, have to hit the reset button after another first-round loss in the postseason last year. The Toronto Maple Leafs bring back practically, their core is not going anywhere, at least not yet. After this season, who knows if they fail again to make any noise in the postseason. But the biggest change to me going into this season is that they are full go on the Jack Cambell era in Toronto. It is his time. Now, they did bring in Peter Mrazek to back him up or possibly be the 1B. That's the question right now for me. I know that they are very comfortable with Jack Cambell, but it is a very small sample size. The guy has never played as a starter in a full 82-game season. I know he got a consistent amount of starts in Los Angeles. I know he played a lot for Toronto last year. I know he set some records last year for Toronto with that great start. Can he do it over an 82-game season? Will he be ran ragged by that coaching staff like they did with Freddie Anderson? I hope not, because, it's part of the reason why the Toronto Maple Leafs haven't been able to do anything in the postseason. Last year had to sting a lot, though. Being up 3-1 to Montreal and losing, that had to sting. These guys, media days and all their media availabilities have said, that's in the past. We're not thinking about it. I can tell you one thing for sure. The fans are thinking about it. And I'm sure the players are too a little bit, but, to no avail. They won't break, and they move forward this season. So let's move forward talking about this upcoming season. I'm not worried about their chances of success in the regular season. I'm not. This team is going to be good. This team is going to put up ridiculous numbers in the regular season. I'll get to some of their players that are going to do ridiculous things once again, because that is what the Toronto Maple Leafs do in the regular season. They perform at a high level. Sheldon Keefe is going to have those boys going the exact same way that he's had them going since he took over. And they're going to be good. They're not going to be an easy team to beat in the regular season. They're going to be high-flying, high-scoring, and I do believe Jack Cambell is going to have a good season. But it's still a question mark to me. There is a sense around Toronto and a sense around the league that this may be their last go and their last chance before they need to make a change to that core. Who that is, I don't know. William Nylander has always been the guy that, all right, well, if we need to reset, if we need to get some space, Nylander can go. I'm not so sure that John Tavares might not be a name that comes up. I know that's not breaking news to anybody, but I understand he's the captain. But when you want to go with young guys, and I had to get rid of one of those big contracts, it might be John Tavares, because I think that Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, those guys, I think they're ready to lead. That's why John Tavares was brought in, because these young guys needed somebody to lead them, needed a veteran. And John Tavares is also an extremely talented hockey player that is probably one of the top centers in the league. So yeah, you bring him in when you have the chance. But I'm not so sure that he's not the guy that goes. But the point is, if they cannot do it again in the postseason, like I said, the regular season, not going to be an issue. If they can't pull it off in the postseason, changes might have to be made. And John Tavares might be one of those names. Morgan Reilly, of course, another name that there's a lot of uncertainty after this season. But we'll have to see. Talking specifically about this season, their star, their stud, the cover athlete for NHL 22, Austin Matthews. He comes into the season dealing with a wrist issue. He said it's no big deal. He said he's going to be good to go. He's just dealing with a little bit right now. He's the reigning Rocket Richard Trophy winner, and I would expect him to contend once again for that trophy. But when you look at this team, they obviously need Matthews to be healthy. They need Mitch Marner to be healthy. They need William Nylander. They need John Tavares. We saw what happened when John Tavares and Jake Muzzin were out last year. They lost that playoff series. But Austin Matthews is the guy. He's one of the most marketable faces in the NHL. I know I rolled my eyes a little bit when he was unveiled as the cover athlete, but from a marketing standpoint, it made sense. From the standpoint of let's market the league a little bit better, I don't know if it did. It marketed the game perfectly though, so I can't get too mad at it. So Austin Matthews, yeah, he's going to go out there and he's going to perform. That's expected. I still think Mitch Marner is very underrated as far as national attention and national media. Last year, he had 20 goals and 67 points in 55 games played. Yeah, that's good for fourth in the NHL. You know, take away Connor McDavid because he's not human and Leon Draisaitl because he really isn't either. That's second among actual human beings in scoring last year. The only person better besides McDavid and Draisaitl was Brad Marchand. Then it's Mitch Marner, and then it's Austin Matthews. Is he underrated? Yeah, I think he's underrated as a regular season player. Postseason, yeah, he hasn't had the success. I mean, he is the single player embodiment of the Toronto Maple Leafs. 0 goals, 4 assists in last year's playoffs. He needs to be better in the postseason, but there's nothing wrong with Mitch Marner, the regular season player. He's great. He's still going to be great. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are still going to be great. Come back to me in April, and we'll discuss what we can expect from the Toronto Maple Leafs and what we think is going to happen to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Come back to me in April with that. I will leave you with one last thought on the Toronto Maple Leafs, though. One last thought. I still love their goal song. My co-host at Tip of the Iceberg, Nick Horwat, he's not a fan of their goal song. And a lot of people aren't. I still like it. I think it's great. I really do. You know, if you don't know, it is You Make My Dreams by Hall & Oates. Listen, it's not a typical NHL goal song. I think it fits their team pretty well. I mean, it really does. This team is not really like a gritty team. This team is not a team that's going to beat you up. And that song does not make you think of somebody that's going to beat you up. It doesn't. I don't know. I enjoy it because I think it's different. That's why I enjoy it. But enough about talking about music and goal songs because we all know the best is still Chelsea Dagger in Chicago. Now I want to talk about a team that's going to score plenty of goals. Probably the sexy pick to win this division. And that's the Florida Panthers. Everybody is jumping on the Florida Panthers bandwagon. And you know, why not? Why not jump on the Florida Panthers bandwagon? There's a reason it's the sexy pick for the division championship. They were great last year. Nobody expected them to be as good as they were last season, yet they were. They're going to be good this year. They added a guy like Sam Reinhart. He gets to actually play for a good team. What's going to happen? He might score 30. That might be a bit much, but you know, he might score 20 easily. He might be a superstar. He might be an all-star. Now, I don't want to get too away from myself because he's not going to be a first-line guy on this team. He's not going to be the main attraction. He's not. Luckily for him, because he had to be that in Buffalo next to Jack Eichel. And yeah, we all know how that went. I talked about that earlier. So they added Sam Reinhart. They also added a guy like Jumbo Joe Thornton. Now, I don't think anybody was saying the Florida Panthers needed veteran help, but it doesn't hurt. You know, Joe Thornton is looking for a Stanley Cup. A lot of people want to see him get a Stanley Cup, and he hitches his wagon where a lot of people have hitched their wagons this year. That's Florida. A lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon. Joe Thornton, one of them. He goes to Florida looking for that first Stanley Cup. I'd like to see it. There's other people I'd like to see win more, but, I wouldn't be mad seeing Joe Thornton with a Stanley Cup. Goes to the Florida Panthers. He by no means is the main attraction there either. They locked up Sam Bennett, who came over and played extremely well, coming over from Calgary last season. They locked up Anthony Duclair, who had a really good year for them, and I think is going to be really good again this year. They did lose a guy like Alex Wenberg, who I think is going to be fantastic for Seattle. If you go back and listen to my entire episode that I talked about the Seattle Kraken, I think Alex Wenberg is going to have a breakout season there for them. And they also lost Chris Driedger, who's a very talented goaltender. It's not fun losing a goaltender of that ability. Now, Driedger, listen, he's going to be a starter in this league. He's probably going to be a 1B up there with Philip Grubauer, but he could be a starter in this league. On most teams, he is the starter in this league. He was in a little bit of a carousel in Florida. They lose him, and it's unfortunate, but they still have two very capable and very good goaltenders. Is it Spencer Knight time? I hope. From what I saw last season of Spencer Knight, I am very excited to see how the Spencer Knight era kicks off this year. Now, obviously, Coach Quenneville is probably going to start off with Bobrovsky. He's probably going to start with the 12-year NHL vet, the former Vezina Trophy winner, the guy that basically single-handedly helped carry the Columbus Blue Jackets past a historically good Tampa Bay Lightning team. Didn't hurt that they also had Artemi Panarin, and I don't need to get into that, but yeah, Sergei Bobrovsky is good at hockey. Yeah, he is probably one of the most overpaid players in hockey. I'm not a guy that likes to pay goaltenders more than $10 million, especially for as long as they're paying Sergei Bobrovsky. So yeah, I think Sergei is once again going to be the opening starter for the Florida Panthers. How long is his leash? Probably not long. Spencer Knight is probably going to balance in with some 1B action to start. Then I think by at least the halfway point of the season, we're probably going to see Spencer Knight as the 1A. Probably not the number one starter with Bobrovsky as the solid backup. It's probably going to be a 1A, 1B situation, but I think it starts out Bobrovsky 1A, Spencer Knight 1B, and then it flip-flops halfway through the season. That's my prediction. Especially because I think Spencer Knight is ready. Who did Quenneville go to in the playoffs last year when the Panthers were pretty much down and out against the Tampa Bay Lightning? Yeah, Spencer Knight. Probably waited a little too long to go to Spencer Knight, to be completely honest. One last note here on the Florida Panthers. Their stars are Alexander Barkov and Jonathan Huberdeau, and I understand they're not the big stars in the league. They're not looked at as the major superstars from Florida, but they're not underrated anymore. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear, oh, you know what? Nobody's giving Barkov and Huberdeau credit. They're getting plenty of credit now. The thing is, let's not give them too much credit. They're tops in the league. Barkov is a perennial Selke Trophy candidate. And Jonathan Huberdeau is a guy that's going to be in the top 20 in scoring. Barkov probably too. Honestly, these guys could both be in the top 20 in scoring, and I would not be surprised. The league was put on notice last year by the Florida Panthers that they are here and they are ready to be contenders. And this year is the first year that we're going into a season with this group of Florida Panthers in that spot. That's why they're the sexy pick. That's why I've heard some people say, hey, you know what, this team could win the division. This team is probably my pick to win the division. I wouldn't go that far, but I wouldn't be shocked. I think there's another team that's going to win this division in the regular season, and it's not the Florida Panthers. They might come in second. They might come in first because I'm not always right, but if I had to put money on it, I'm not putting my money on the Florida Panthers. At least not yet.